Oh, Mark Ruffalo. Oh, Mark Ruffalo. Come on in here, you. Come on in here, you. Oh, here you go, running your mouth talking about unless you are Native American or Mexican, you are an immigrant. Am I actually? If I challenge his brain and his IQ, well, there's a reason he had that movie 13 going on 30, which I did like with him and Jennifer Garner. That's Ben Affleck's a strange ex-wife. Well, he's actually 30 going on 13 because he don't know his history. Somebody got to teach this cat that black folks were here in America for hundreds of years. I know that it's fashionable to always say, and a lot of ancestors did come across from Africa and the tribals, but there were natives that were black. Yeah. I think he don't get that, and I'm sure he's in for a rude awakening. I don't know what his education is. I don't know how deep it is. I really don't care, But when you get people that are just trying to speak out, and he was on his tirade horse about, and okay, no kings allowed and everything with Trump, but then he gets on his high horse and says what he says. Well, you do know that there were people that blended together, but I don't know if that. And how are you going to speak? He is half Italian, but I hope he don't be thinking that Christopher Columbus discovered America. I hope he ain't believing that lie. You know, a lot of times with Hollywood, when they open up their mouths, they showcase how dumb they are. And this was another dumb remark. Everybody would have a lineage to the United States. Does he not understand that, or did that not get lost in when he was trying to go on his high horse? You're better off not saying anything. What you want to say, though, is that it's not called the States of America. It's called the United. And United means what? Everybody contribute. Now, black folks contribute the most in the substantial both because of slavery, because of all the businesses that have benefited from it. Your Fortune 500 clubs, your Wall Streets, your Wall Stocks, your Walmarts. Everybody then had a hand in it. You know how they had a hand in it? Because if there was any business that was there before 1964 when the Civil Rights Initiative was passed, where everybody had to bring forth workers, it was legalized discrimination, which is basically legalized genocide, which is basically, so when they do all these, when Trump had them all scared and they took all the diversity and low key on black support for these buildings, well, they used George Floyd as a scapegoat, which they really weren't doing anything to begin with. Because if you have to tell a people who are founding people of a said country that you have to acknowledge them like you do a token Black History Month or token gestures, then you're really not acknowledging them. Mark Ruffalo, what do you think Juneteenth is? Emancipation. What do you think that's about? Oh, yeah. And if you're an immigrant, you're born into the country, not always by selection. But what do you think that means? See, this is how the idiocy of some of these entertainers and people who don't know need to go somewhere and sit their broke $5.99 behinds down somewhere because they've been rejected and they're in the orange peel section. And if you go to Goodwill or you go to a Tuesday discount day, you know exactly what I mean. The reject low budget. That's what the turkeys like this cat is, who is an all right actor, but he thinks he's deeper than thou. He's on some liberal crusade, and he's going to Bernie Sanders of independence. Meanwhile, ask him about history and facts and actuals. He can't tell you nothing because he obviously didn't take the time to do his homework to understand that black people have been here and they are as much as Native American as anybody. So for him to say that thing just shows how half baked and there's ignorance involved. People give you a pass for being ignorant. I don't. You have Google, you have the tools, you have the knowledge, and you have everything forthright to let you know that when you start talking about immigrants and you talk about, see, the people that don't, who give you a half blank picture about black people being creators in America are the same people that when they talk about the Bible, they'll talk about Jewish and they'll talk about this and this and that, but they don't mention black people. Why is that? Oh, I had a good Bible study situation where I had to address that. Because if Africa is the start of civilization, That's in everywhere. That's in offices. That's the origins of everything. So how can you just conveniently not mention that, Mark Ruffalo? And for the record, a lot of Mexican ancestry is from Africa. But I don't know if you spent the time to think about that. You know, there's a lot of times that people conveniently try to sound like the power of the people and they say our founding forefathers were this and all that. Well, last time I checked, all them laws was broken and done, but who was here? Who was the innovators and who were the creators? If you're going to tell the whole truth, Mark Ruffalo, say it. If you want to say everybody's an immigrant and they contribute, but don't put a particular group and you're not going to mention black folks. That's where you sound ignorant, loud, and wrong. And you're not that liberal as you think you are. You're not that open minded as you say you are. Because it doesn't do justice and it does a disservice. But it's kind of like Martin Scorsese, who got up there and said Sicilian, everybody came to Ellis Island, we're all immigrants. This is kumbaya when we get into this, we all, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. There have been one particular group and race of people in America where people made a whole country off of. All the laws, all the documentation that now will get your behind locked up was allowed to be the normalization. Because when they start talking about situations that pertain to Diddy, R. Kelly, etc., that was legalized against black folks. That how you think you auction and plantation, electoral college votes, and so on and so forth get to be documented and done. Legalize auctions. Legalize everything that they put into law was legalized when they openly with slavery. And slavery is 160 plus years old. First, the so-called emancipation, even though it really wasn't, because you go back 61 years ago is when they had the Civil Rights Bill to open up to allow black and white to work in sectors all the way to that. But even though there was the Vietnam War where they still had housing discrimination and they had it down south in places. So how long have black people really been free in America? And how does Mark Ruffalo not acknowledge the foundings and people who were here, who were a part, blood, sweat, and tears, who built a lot of those same places that he walks by? It's amazing how that just kind of gets lost on the eye when you're out there trying to be all patriotic and that you want to support the immigrants and everything and you're rah, 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 but you're half-hearted in your truths. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another, share it if you like, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke. I'm out. Peace.